Hi guys and welcome to Razon.com. This is Mohit Soni. What is in front of you is the Volkswagen Virtus, and this what we're driving here is the 1 liter manual version in the dynamic line. What we drove earlier was of course the automatic version and the GT version of the 1.5. We know for a fact that Volkswagen does not give the 1.5 in the manual, so this is the only manual that we're driving, and we're happy to drive manuals because a lot of manufacturers don't do that anymore. They don't let you drive manuals, but Volkswagen sedan, fun to drive nature of the car, along with there's a lot of things going on to make sure that it's a driver's car. And how good is it? Because it's going to be a budget car for some, but at the same time it's going to be a budget car for the enthusiast also to step in, because there's no Polo anymore, and this is of course Vento's replacement. And we had to sample it, and we've been able to do so. We've been driving it for a week. What do we think about it? Well, as always, our first impressions are always brilliant because this car looks fantastic, and in this blue shade, as you can see, in crystal blue skies above and green grass below, is the fact that this car looks pretty amazing. The design has always been spectacular to my eye especially, and it continues to do so. Look at that lovely chiseled headlamp, the large bumper here with the piano black finish that runs all the way. I don't know how it's going to age, but it definitely looks fantastic. You've got a halogen and LED setup here, which makes the illumination and spread pretty good. It's a double barrel setup, so high beams and low beams will stay on together. It's a pretty old thing. I just like to tell people because a lot of people don't know that. It's a pretty obvious thing, but still a lot of new people don't know that. The younger guys don't know that. The alloy wheels, as you can see, it looks fantastic. The side profile is very sharp and borderline aggressive at the same time. It's practical. The glass to metal ratio, as you can see, looks spot on. And of course the downside of course is the wheel well gap, which is slightly higher because the ground clearance is at 179 mm. And that's how the rear looks like. Very impressive, very sharp. The tail lamps sort of remind you of the Jetta to a certain extent, but that's about it. That's the new logo for VW. Looks really nice. And yeah, that's the rear of the car. And that's a very economous boot here that is on offer, 500 liters. This can accommodate a lot of stuff, that is for sure. And yeah, very impressive looking tail lamps. That's the fuel filler, and that's how you get in. Keyless entry. There is the push button, start button over there, and headlamps are here. The mirror mounting is not here anymore, so that's also a nice thing to have. That's the interior. Good plastic quality. LED lamps here. You've got a sunroof that opens, and it's a pretty familiar cabin because it borrows its cues from the Taygun. I really like the cockpit, the new steering wheel, and the new logo that is on offer. The LCD screen here looks really nice. The full digital display is now a necessity inside most cars, and Volkswagen has given it, so that's great. You can change the view via from this view button here, and you got these three screens where you can choose everything. And in almost every screen it shows a gear shift indicator here to help you maximize fuel economy and to be in the right gear. Fast charging points, only C to C cables, surprisingly. This is Volkswagen making the car future ready. Wireless charging, 12 volt socket, which works really well. A nice glove box which is cooled but not illuminated. Door pad design also looks really nice to my eyes. It's got a lot of space here, and got that lovely door handle and the lock button, unlock button here. Really nice steering. The media controls are distributed to both sides. It's usually on one side, but I really like this because you can have you can have both of your hands on the steering wheel and control media at the same time. So that's a very nice feature to have. There are multiple ways of how you think about it, but that is it. You've got the auto wipers here, headlamps, indicators. You've got a air care, which is a air purifier, along with climate control that is on offer. The AC is working just about okay. Could have been better. We know about that aspect of the car. It's trying really hard to do so, but it needs to be a little bit more better. And yeah, you can go through a lot of settings. A lot of things here have to be adjusted from here. So there is no button here or here, everything has to be set from here. So as you can see, there's an instrument cluster. I have to reset from the screen here, which I told last time as well in my video. opening and closing of doors, units that need to be specified for Indian metric system, valid vehicle, and the light settings, the brightness, everything has to be adjusted from here. So it's a good thing that this is left only for everyday purposes, while all the settings have to be done from here. So you can take your time, sit down, or if you're stuck in a very long traffic jam, you can, make sure that you can set the settings accordingly. Ventilated seats, big highlight. Of course, it doesn't have power seats, but ventilated seats do most of the job for Indian customers. They are really happy to see that, because most of our weather conditions throughout the year is hot. Cup can holders are here. Under storage is excellent. It's adjustable as well, so you can rest your hand very nicely. And yeah, really like the steering wheel, the cockpit. The more time I spend driving here, I really love the interior. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, along with the best in class screen that is on offer here. We really like the system. It's got a bit of bugs. I think those are also sorted because we connected our Android Auto as well as Bluetooth. There were no noises whatsoever, so I think Volkswagen has taken care of that bug, and it's been performing really well. The Tiguan which we were driving had certain small bugs, but I think they are sorted out on this car, so that's a very nice thing. And yeah, you have those pedals here, and let's go at the back. Behind my own driving position, you have to double unlock the doors to get all 4 doors unlocked. And AC vents, fast charging point is here as well. Look at the amount of legroom I have below. Look at the amount of humongous knee room that I have here. It's really impressive. You've got adjustable headrests here. All 3 headrests at the back also are adjustable, which is very good for safety. Cup can holders, armrest that is not really well suspended. You've got a 3-pointed seat belt for the middle passenger as well. Isofix is here, and those are the door pads, pretty large in size. You've got a tweeter here, and of course I showed you the sunroof. The cabin is airy enough. This is not black, this is grey, and these leather seats of course could have been put together a little bit better. And you've got door pockets here on magazine holders or anything like that here. Yeah, pretty nice cabin to be. Lot of space, lot of glass area. I showed you what the boot is like. I told you the feature list is also really good. The infotainment system had certain bugs that have been taken care of, and that's it. So what is the Volkswagen Virtus with the 1-liter engine and a manual gearbox like to drive well? Let's talk about the clutch, which is light but the throw is a bit longer. The gear shift also has a long throw than the usual gearboxes that we are used to from the past in VW, but it's a smooth gearbox, it's a light gearbox, it's easy to use, the gates are well defined, and it's something that will not really get to you in traffic situations. So that makes it very easy to drive. Let's talk about the comfort inside the cabin even more. The NVH levels are downright brilliant because the engine is much more smoother and quieter than we expected it to be. There is hardly any vibrations or thrumminess at idle or at redline inside the cabin. It's really well in check. It's the insulation and certain changes that the 1-liter engine has in India that makes it really smooth and refined. And we've seen this engine in the Polo and the Vento along with another VW group of cars. It definitely feels much better because the tune also is now 115 PS and 175 Newton meters. So it's got that extra 5 horsepower, and that has surprisingly made things very smooth. So that's a really nice thing to have. The NVH levels are really well in check with this 1-liter 3-cylinder motor, and that's one of the best part because it aids comfort inside the cabin. The low end torque somewhere between 1400 and 1800 rpm there is a bit of lag, and only if you are 4 people loaded with luggage you will have to mash the throttle entirely inside the carpet to move ahead. But most of the time you can drive normally on partial throttle and it will be just fine. To of course get out of that situation you will have to use the entire accelerator, and once you are in the top end then you can upshift and maintain acceleration like it's how it's supposed to be and however you like it. And most of the time driving with 2 people, 3 people, 4 people is not going to be a problem until unless you are fully loaded with people and luggage and you're on an incline is only where you're going to feel it. And the best way, like I told you, to get out of it is using the full accelerator for a brief moment of period. Let's talk about the ride quality, because you want me to, because people say the ground clearance is quite high for a sedan, but please realize that it makes the ride quality really impressive. Driving every day this car is not going to be a hassle at all, because the ride quality is downright brilliant. Test driving cars in Bombay in the rainy season makes us realize that certain cars do a really good job, and the Volkswagen Virtus is one of that. Ride quality is excellent, and it goes over bigger speed humps really easily, even with 4 people on board. We've done that test in the past with the Slavia. We have done that test with the Virtus. It aces that test really well. Again, I'm all praises about the ride quality on the way it handle things. At the same time, it is very good on the highway as well, since it is a sedan with slightly more ground clearance and it's not an SUV. The highway stability is even better, and it is rock solid at most speeds. Even at the top end speed, even at max speed, it is very confident and stable. So that's the best part. The brakes, of course, the Slavia could have, the Virtus could have used rear disc brakes, because coming down from higher speeds made me realize that the rear disc brakes would have been ideal. But it does the job quite well at most speeds, and it performs even better than expected at low to medium speeds, so you will be fine most of the time. And even at high speeds, it's not of an issue at all. It's just better braking would have been acceptable, would have been ideal, but that's about it, and we don't really have complaints on that aspect. The steering light, precise, good feedback, weighs up on the highway as well. Feedback, of course, could have been better, just like any other modern car, because keeping the lightness for city and chuckability, maintaining that along with getting the highway feedback and heaviness right. I think it's a good balance. Could have been better, but it's good enough. And yeah, like I told you, the extra ground clearance helps. The ride quality is really good. The steering is acceptable. The clutch and gearbox are good. And that brings us to the fact that this cabin also feels very special. It's the same platform as the Taygun, but it has so much more space at the back. It's got such a big boot. One of the reasons why the Virtus and the Virtus is working, and the Taygun will also work, because that's an SUV and people want an SUV, they can go ahead and get it. But this sedan maximizes all that space that it can offer with this sedan form. Despite similar dimensions as the SUV, it shows that the sedans are still really good at offering practicality over SUVs. So the Virtus still makes a lot of sense in this SUV world. If you want practicality, if you want high fuel efficiency, we've got 11 in the city, 14 and a half on the highway. If you can keep your acceleration below, speeds below 100 kilometers an hour, you can reach the 16-kilometer and mark. And the claim numbers are 18, so getting very close to those claim numbers is very easy. Like I told you, the comfort is high, the space is high, the driving dynamics is good, and the looks are also really impressive. This blue color, or be the red color or the gray color, these are 3 colors that I've seen on the Virtus. They look really impressive, and those are the colors that I'm seeing on the road as well with other Virtuses, because you just cannot go ahead and buy anything else, because these 3 colors look so good. You just have to choose your favorite color of the lot and get it, and the Virtus will look spectacular in that. And that's the big highlight with the Virtus. It looks great. It's got practicality, it's got good amount of features, good driving, very practical car for everyday needs, and it has really impressed us. Like any other car, it's not really super value for money in today's time, because the various factors, it's not really cheap to make cars anymore. BS6, all safety regulations and everything, and Volkswagen meets also all those criterias, and it is everything. And you should definitely consider the Virtus if you're in the market for a sedan, because both the petrol motors are really good. We will spend more time with these cars and tell you more about it. Until then, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you like and share, follow us on our website and social media for everyday updates, and thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.